Now, let me get an idea of how you work in your environments. Do you, those of you that have rust plots in the fields, do you infect them or do you rely on natural infection? You do inoculations in Australia, I know. I also do inoculations because I like to put out certain pathotypes, the ones that I'm interested in. Some of the others.
So we do these spreaders in the field.
But you also inoculate. In Pakistan,
We inoculate.
you inoculate. You see, most of us inoculate to make sure we get good quality data.
Yes, I am interested in population, so I just make varieties with spiders, but I don't inoculate.
You don't
so I just
inoculate.
infect them, not enough to have the nature.
Yeah, that was my question too, was when you inoculate, do you have a particular pathotype that you increase and use, or is it just a collection of natural and non-natural?
We use particular pathotypes.
Okay.
Yeah, I also use a particular pathotype because that's my objective. I want to see how the germplasm respond to UG99. I don't want the SR5 avirulence, for instance.
In India, what we do is that we take, say, 4 virulent and most predominant pathotypes, and then inoculate the material. So that those cultures would be same at all the places.
Just something on terminology that I have. If you read a rust paper in the literature where field work's being reported, the authors invariably will tell you that they artificially inoculated their nursery. So how can you artificially inoculate a nursery? Inoculation is inoculation. It can't be artificial, because if it's artificial, it means it's something different. So that's just something I have on terminology. It's inoculated. It's not artificially inoculated. So there's your question, Gordon.
It's Dave's fault.
Yeah.
You're English speaking.
Oxford English. So there's your question, Gordon. You have to decide what to use. And it could be dangerous to use highly virulent isolates in the field, because you may expose the farmers in the region to pathotypes that are not occurring naturally.
So Zach, if you're doing collections from the field, is it a good idea to test what you've got first before you then inoculate several sites?
I think so. You've got to
Actually,
make sure that
in that case, there is a problem, because there is shift in pathotype pattern, then those things will not be there. Because we had it, that the material that was in fact indirectly got screened against one pathotype. But then pathotype, when shift was there, so then some of the lines they became circular. So it's better, I mean, to proceed what do we have. And that
I agree. You've got to know what you're putting out.
Yeah, I think I was going to say from our experience, I'd want to know what I'm putting out, because occasionally we get exotic incursions. So, and we need to be very careful with them. So, you know, you pick up rust from a particular place, and if you don't look at it, it might be something dangerous, and then here you are increasing it and sticking it back in the field.
Exactly.
And then the seedling data, no? That has to be supplemented with field data. So if we have got the lines which are separated or resident in the greenhouse, so how do they behave in the field? So when you complement both the data, you get the result.
Just I would like to add for the sampling as well, then when we want to see the population, we would like to have the sampling from the fields which are away from the inoculated trials. Because there we know the pathotype and the genotype already. So we try to have the sampling from the fields which will be away from your nursery where you are inoculating artificially.
Right, next point, timing and application of inoculum. It's important to give your artificial epidemic enough time to develop. So do not wait until maturity before you put the spores out. They need several cycles of generation cycles before you will have enough to be able to take good notes. And I've often found that the chemical industry will ask me for spores. They have some fungicide trial somewhere, and they will, right at the end, remember, oh, I need some infection in this if I want to get data, and they will ask me for spores. And I ask, how advanced is your material? And they say, no, it's already maturing. So there's no sense in applying inoculum at the later growth stages. You have to plan, and I mean, Neil also said it, if you plan for statistical analysis or statistical procedures, you also have to plan for the biology. Plan in advance and think about this before you do the experiments. There are several methods of applying inoculum. You can spray them with a backpack sprayer, or you can dust them. You can inject the spores in the boot. You can put infected seedlings out in the field. There are many ways, and I haven't seen any two labs that do these things in the same way, as long as you get infection in the end. All right, we've said that. I repeat my inoculation several times, because people send you material from all over the world. They even come visit you, spend a lot of money and energy to come and see their material, and you tell them, well, sorry, my infections failed. So that's not on. You've got to make sure that you get a good infection or good epidemic going. I use a system which I call field dew chambers. I don't know who of you do that as well, where you have a plastic covered structure.
We don't use plastic cover. I mean, the day we want to inoculate, we'll irrigate the field in the morning, and in the evening what we do dusting, and then
That's good enough.
Infection is 100%.
Yeah.
The second thing, to make sure that infection is there, we do the inoculation as well every 10th or 20th plant. That ensures further.
Yeah. So you have to know how your environment deals with your rust infections, and then adapt.
Zach, is it a good idea for your spreaders that there's different maturity times?
Yes, we usually plant 3 weeks ahead.
No, but you would have some that are going to mature later. So,
Oh, staggered. Yeah, the mixture of spreaders I use has been chosen based on different maturity. See, if you only use Morocco, you're in trouble. Because yellow rust just kills it within the first 2 weeks, then it's gone. There's no way you're going to get any stem rust development on that whatsoever. So I've, through the years, made selections, and I've increased that to a few hundred kgs of each, so I can mix them and know that I will have a continuous development of spores.
We incorporate a winter wheat in our spreader.
Yeah.
So it develops very late, and we pick the winter wheat that's got good adult plant resistance to leaf and stripe rust, but completely killed by stem rust. So it's great for promoting late promotion of stem rust.
Yeah, there's a lot that can be done. The stem rust spreader I use came from a Summit nursery, and it's under our conditions completely resistant to stripe rust. And that's what I want. I don't want it to be killed. It's susceptible to leaf rust as well, and so I get the stem rust going. So there are many things you can do. But anyway, back to the environment, you need good dew formation overnight. If you don't have that, it must be fairly humid, I think. Temperatures must cool down at night so you can get dew formation to get a good infection. And then it must also be suitable, obviously, for growing a good wheat crop. Under our conditions, the site we use is about 1,100 meters above sea level, so it's cold enough during winter so we can get the long season wheats or the facultative types also to head out. And we usually plant them 3 to 4 weeks earlier than the spring type, so we have an equal epidemic at the end of the season. Must be accessible. My rust site is not really accessible for me, so it takes a lot of time and effort to get there. And there must be support structures available in terms of planting, irrigation, just weeding, harvesting if you're lucky. Otherwise, you have to do all these things by yourself.